economy, abortion, the border, issues that matter to you. AZ's On the Fence. Now here's your host, Drew Grunwald.
And welcome to AZ's On the Fence. I'm your host, Drew Grunwald, and joining me on the show today are two fantastic candidates. We're going to start with Kathleen Winn. She's the candidate for U.S. House Arizona Congressional District 6 and running against incumbent Juan Ciscomani. Now, Kathleen has concerns about the erosion of freedoms and the Constitution and the need to restore the values and principles on which this nation was founded. Also joining me today is Senator Janae Shamp, and she's the incumbent senator for Arizona Legislative District 29, and she's seeking her second term. Senator Shamp is working hard on policy concerning border security, school choice, and medical freedom. This is a jam-packed show with lots of important topics, so stay tuned as we get right to the candidates. Kathleen Winn for Congress. Kathleen is running as a candidate for Arizona's 6th Congressional District, and if she wins this election, she's going to be going to Washington to represent us. How are you doing today, Kathleen?
I'm doing great, and it's winforarizona.com, just to make a slight correction.
Yeah, okay. So yes, your
running
website.
For Congress, but it's Win for Arizona. I want to remind people that I want to represent them, so we did that intentionally. So I don't want to overstep.
No, we don't want. Yeah, win for Congress, but your social media and all of your website and that type of stuff is Win for Arizona. So, and I will make sure that we get your information out there so our listeners can find out more about you and your campaign when it comes to election. Now, you're on the ballot for the primary, July 30th, so make sure, if you're listening, you get out there and vote. Your vote matters, whether you think it does or not. Kathleen, tell us a little bit about the 6th District, and I understand you're running against incumbent Juan Ciscomani and the Democratic candidate also, Kirsten Engel. So, there's only one seat, and it looks like there's 3 of you plus a Green Party candidate or someone running. But this segment is all about you. So brag for me, please. Tell these listeners why they should vote for you.
Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
That's okay.
I love CD6. So CD6 is the southeast corner of the state. I joke that it's the border, and it is the border, but it's where all the other senators and congressmen come to do their photo op. And yet the border still remains open. So we know better than anybody. Everyone says they're a border state, but we are a border district. And I have great love and passion for the people in our district. Cochise County, Graham and Greenlee County, the east side of Pima County, and the south side of Pinell County. Geographically, this is the 4th largest congressional district in the country in terms of land. Each district has the same amount of people about in it, approximately. I ran last time. There were 5 of us that ran, and the 3 conservatives beat the moderate. And so there's a moderate candidate, which is Juan Ciscomani, and there's a conservative candidate, which is myself. And the conservatives beat the moderate, and I think I shared with you, I wasn't really looking forward to running again. But after so many votes that went against the Republicans and against the conservatives, and I reached over 1,000 requests, I entered this race late in October, and our campaign is doing great. There are people that want to be able to rely on conservative values. They don't like the spending that's going on with the government. They want to protect our children, which I've spent a lot of time doing personally, fighting against sex trafficking, sexual exploitation, all those things that are attacking our children. And then the other thing is that this race really is important if we are going to put Donald Trump back into the White House, which I believe is going to happen, barring any unforeseen catastrophes, that we have support from Christians and Christian conservatives, which I am, to support his agenda and restore the chaos that has been unleashed on our country. I think it's so important that we put people who know where they stand, are willing to fight for the people. I have a long time record of doing that. When I worked at the Attorney General's office, when I worked at the Maricopa Community College Governing Board, I was always fighting for the best interest of the voters. And that hasn't changed. And I have a long record of doing that.
Excellent. And I would love to ask you this question. And I ask most candidates about the border and what they think about the border. And so many times, if they say that they don't think there's a problem at the border right now, I scratch my head a little bit. But they say if you're against what's going on right now, then you're against immigration, and I don't believe that that's the case. I believe you can be for immigration, but against what's going on at the border. Please explain for our listeners what it means to be for immigration, but against our current border situation.
Well, let me make a distinction. There's
Yeah.
illegal immigration and then there's immigration. So
Yes.
I'm two of my daughter-in-laws immigrated here, one from Mexico, one from Morocco. They're married to our two sons. And they are probably the most adamant about people coming here legally and doing it properly. Right now, we do not have operational control of our border. We have over 165, I think it's gone up, different countries coming through our border. The Sinaloa cartel is being funded by the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, and they're funding the Mexican and Central American cartels. Each day, 200 Americans die from fentanyl poisoning. Over 100,000 missing illegal immigrant children are gone in our country. We are helping facilitate the trafficking of children. If that is not compassionate, that is not immigration, that is a crime against humanity, and it is a crime against American citizens. And if someone fired guns at us every day and we're killing 200 people, we would call that an act of terrorism. But yet we're not. And the Biden administration and those in Congress right now, they don't have the moral courage to stand up and do what we need to do to secure this border. And my biggest contention with my opponent is that Congress has the power of the purse, and they could have shut down the government before this last big omnibus bill where they funded full-term abortion, where they funded transgender surgeries, where they gave money to Ukraine, and all the Democrats stood on the floor of the House waving their Ukraine flags. We didn't need to do that until we had our border secure. We had the votes, we could have stopped it, and we didn't have the moral courage. We played nice, and I call that just a crime against the citizens. Those that take an oath in office say that they will fight all enemies, foreign and domestic. We have foreign enemies, and our domestic Congress people voted to fund their terrorist actions. And I believe that we are in a crisis right now, and we need to fight.
People will say that we are a country of immigrants and we should allow everybody in the country. And when you go back to when our country was in its infancy and people were coming over through Ellis Island, etc., where the greatest migration of our country started and originated from, those people came to America to be Americans. And I think that's factual. I don't know that that's debatable at all. But it does seem to me that our border and immigration, I'm for, like you, legal immigration, but I believe there are unknown risks coming across the border right now, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
100%. You said it very well, Drew. I think that people, Hezbollah is here, Hamas is here, Al Qaeda is here, the CCP, China, Venezuelan gangs. We are watching rapes and murders of our own citizens. And I think that to turn a blind eye to that, there's 10 million people in our country that don't belong here. And there are so many gotaways. And if you come across our border right now, we're kind of just taking you in. We're giving you some money. You can fly. You can go. I mean, we are bankrupting our country. And if I were in Congress, I would, identify who these people are. I believe that we should have mass deportation. They have a court date 10 years out. They don't need to wait here for their court date. They can come back, I guess, in 10 years and we can process through who they are. But you made a very valid point, which is that my grandfather came through Ellis Island. My dad was first generation. My grandfather was from Italy. And so I love, and he loved America. My dad became a U.S. Marine and served in our country. And I believe the founding fathers were generous and kind people, and they did want people to come from all over the world, but they wanted to have a passion for the freedom and the fundamentals that make this country great. That's not what we're promoting right now. And all these different ideologies and agendas are everything that's happening is destroying the moral fabric of our country and destroying the Constitution, everything the founding fathers stood for. They, if they, if they were here, I think they would be appalled at the wasteful spending. They never intended for government to be big. I think they would be appalled at how the borders are wide open and how we are not standing for America, for the Constitution, for the flag, for our independence, for our freedoms. Our freedoms are being taken away every day. And so, where we are is a time to fight back and to restore the values and the God given values. This nation was one nation founded under God, and we've turned our back on God if we've done anything else.
I was at an event the other day, and we stood up, saluted the flag, and said the Pledge of Allegiance. Gosh, I haven't done that in so long.
Oh,
I want. It felt great, and it brought a tear to my eye. You're listening to AZ's on the Fence. Joining me is Kathleen Winn, running for Congressional District 6. And when we come back from the break, she mentioned it a little bit, we're going to be talking about reducing government spending, the rule of law, and election integrity. So stay tuned, and we will be right back after the break. Thinking about selling your home but unsure about the current market and the value of your home? Call the experts at A2 Luxury Real Estate. The team has over 50 years experience in real estate, appraisal, and finance. Having the right team with the right experience will help you make the right decision when it comes to selling your home. The pinnacle of luxury real estate starts with A2 Luxury Real Estate. Visit us at a2luxre.com or call 602-888-1433, Realty One Group. Welcome back to AZ's on the Fence. Joining me is Kathleen Winn. Kathleen is running for Congressional District 6, which is the southeast part of our state, for those who don't know where 6 is, but it's right along the border. In the last segment, we were talking about our border and immigration, legal immigration, and some of the issues that go along with the illegal immigration on our border. I'd like to switch gears a little bit, Kathleen, and talk about government spending. We keep throwing around the word trillions of dollars. And, back when 20 years ago, you never heard the word trillion. And it just seems like now it's rolling off the tongue like it's normal. What are we going to do? How are we going to curb some government spending, or do we need to spend more?
Oh my gosh, do not say that. Do not say we need to spend more. I think that the thing that we need to understand is that you cannot be the $34 trillion. Much of that is debt. And so it keeps rolling. We have interest on that debt. And so I think I'm being told that if we'll get to 100 trillion in 10 years or something. So if we do not stop our current spending levels. One of the things that government has gotten so good at is creating agencies and creating organizations inside the government. And there's over 3,400 of those that do not have congressional oversight right now. So we need to do a deep clean of that and figure out what that mess is. But the Department of Education, the Department of Labor, the Department of Energy have created cultures outside of the government that aren't in accordance with the Constitution, that they are disruptive to our way of life. And right now, we don't know where 60% of our defense budget is. It's unaccounted for. The money that's in Ukraine that we've sent over money, but there's no accounting. So first and foremost, before another nickel is spent, there needs to be an accounting of where money is, what funds we have, from Social Security to defense to education, all of the funding that is coming in from taxpayers. Nowhere else in the world does a country tax their citizens and then send the money out to other countries. We are the only one. England is not taxing their citizens and sending us money. Nowhere else are we getting money from anywhere else. So we cannot bear the burden of financing the entire world. And that's what we're doing right now. And in the meantime, we're also allowing countries that are not our allies to come into our country and steal our intellectual property, strategically plotting against us. And I think we have the power of the purse at this point, but we're about to lose it if we don't become fiscally responsible. Congressman Biggs has a plan. I think that in 4 to 5 years that we could turn this around and have a balanced budget. We need to head in that direction, and I would vote for that. My opponent voted against tax reduction. I believe that tax reduction is the only way to go, and you stop funding the freebies. The Congress is not Santa Claus, and we need to stop giving away our resources and our money. We need to put America first.
I don't know why America First has become a saying or a slogan that many people seem to despise in our country. Very, very interesting. Let's talk a little bit about rule of law. We've had some court cases recently, both criminal and civil, both elections and a former president and a president's son. The rule of law to me is kind of treating everybody the same. What's going on? Why is there seem to be a split justice system? Why are some people getting treated one way and others are not? Help me out here, Kathleen. What's going on?
Well, I will tell you, it seems like it's all happening right now, but again, this is when you don't pay attention to elections. So there's a two-tier justice system, which is what you're referring to. And what happened is, over the last 10 years, George Soros has made a concerted effort to get in district attorneys in other places, county attorneys where we live in the state of Arizona. And if you look right now, those county attorneys are not enforcing the law, especially where I live in Tucson. Laura Conover is our current county attorney. She's a Democrat. They do not enforce the law. It's very frustrating to those in law enforcement. So first and foremost, we don't have a Republican attorney general in our state for a very long time. And so she is selectively prosecuting those that challenged the election last time. You have a legal right, if it in accordance with the law, to challenge anything that you believe is criminal or is a misdemeanor. The way that Donald Trump has been treated, clearly, no one else has ever had a case like the case where he just was found guilty of 34 counts, and the instructions from the judge were problematic. He's got many grounds for appeal. I'm a national delegate, so I will be in Milwaukee. Whether the president makes it or not, President Trump makes it is yet to be seen. But we have to understand that where this happens is in elections. And people go, well, the elections are being stolen. What do? You can overwhelm the polls by voting. And you have to understand that your vote is your voice. And if you don't vote, then you're conceding to the two-tier system of justice. You're conceding to socialism. You're conceding to communism. If you want to be in a country like Russia or China, then don't vote and don't stand up and don't say something. It's scary right now. Look at all the people from J6. There clearly is a targeted effort towards Christian conservatives. But that's when if we lay down now, then we've lost everything. And our country is worth fighting for. Our beliefs are worth fighting for. The laws are worth fighting for. And we need to understand how laws work, how the justice system works. And the wonderful thing about our justice system is that we have checks and balances still. And even though in some of these isolated cases where they've targeted and kind of packed the jury, it looks like those still can be appealed. So it's never over until the last appeal. And I think you're going to see the Supreme Court level the playing field. And I'm hopeful that, Hunter Biden is found guilty and has to pay for crimes he committed. And I believe that he's committed many crimes. And think about that should have really been probably prosecuted 4 years ago. So his case got slow walked while Donald Trump's was on hyperspeed. So that's not equal justice either. And so we have to call it out when we see it.
Well, and they say it looks like hyperspeed, but also they could have brought that case 4 years ago. Why did they wait till the election year to bring it? So there's timing issues that, it does seem like the term now is lawfare, that they have possibly, using our legal system against political opponents. And that becomes a very slippery, dangerous slope.
It does. Yes.
Election integrity, I don't believe there has been a single challenge of an election that has gone in awarded to the challenger. It seems like everything that happened the last several elections has stuck. Nothing has been overturned. And election integrity is important. If we don't have faith that our elections are fair, I believe people will just stop going to the polls, and we absolutely can't have that. Everyone's vote matters, and if you don't vote, I guess you get what you get, and you can't really complain about it.
At last election, I sued the county because they had sent out 64,000 ballots, and I don't know if you remember, but on election day, 33 polling places did not have 48,000 ballots. So 48,000 ballots. They ran out of ballots at 7:30 in the morning. It was a national news story. I know. And I had sued, and the judge had kind of bullied me, and Pinell County assured us that the election was going to be fine. And I think that's what's problematic, because it wasn't. I did not have sour grapes. I moved forward. It taught me a lesson. If I ever am in the same circumstance, I will sue, and I will not drop my suit, because clearly, if you run out of ballots at 7:30 in the morning, you have to turn voters away. You have a problem with the election. It's the same county where Abe Hamadeh picked up 300 votes after the election. So it is now 280 votes away if Cochise or Mojave can ever count their votes. So I think, and that's a case of another lawsuit that's going on, past, taking forever. So we have to have the timeliness, we have to have the use of the law, and we have to be able to have fair and free elections. And the only way we're going to get that is if we fight to put people in that want to do that. And both sides should want that, not just the side that's winning right now. That's the problem.
Absolutely. Both sides, because no matter what side wins, if the other side just says there was fraud involved and it wasn't fair and everybody's fighting each other, that should be one of the things that all of the candidates should want. And anybody who's against fair elections must be the cheater. That's how that was the way it was on the playground, right? If you weren't for rules and fair, then you must be one who relied on cheating to win. And I've always said, I'll take the results of a fair election, a fair fight, a fair negotiation all day long. It's when people cheat that it really cheats the system and everybody else. Kathleen, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Will you please give out information about your campaign, how people can find out more information about you and possibly even donate to your campaign?
I'd love that. Thank you. So you can go to Winn, WINN, for the word for, Arizona.com, winforarizona.com. People can reach my campaign at 602-315-3141. We would love any support. We are doing very well. I have amazing volunteers and supporters. And what we say is that Arizona needs a win. I'm Kathleen Winn, and I would love to serve you in the U.S. Congress in AZCD6. Thank you so much, Drew, for your time.
Thank you so much, Kathleen, and good luck in your campaign. A pleasure having you on today. Thank you.
Thank you.